there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about a TV show rather than a film. It's The Good Place. This is a show that's been on, it's come from America, it's been on for like 4 seasons. It's just finally ended its run. For a lot of its run, it's quite a low rated show, but it's always been on Netflix as well and things like that. Like, it's a kind of combination of American network and Netflix who have been like, funding it, I think. So it kept on getting funded that way, and it really works. It's a really wonderful show, but it was never going to be a big blockbuster show. It never went to easy laughs. It's more character based laughs. It's based on the premise that it's going to alienate a lot of people, and it's much more to do with character details and progression of a story than it is to do with easy laughs all the time. So the premise to start with is that this woman played by Kirsten Bell dies. That's the opening of the show. She dies and she wakes up and she's in the good place, which is heaven. The good place is heaven. That's what she's found herself. Unfortunately, she knows that she did not live a good life. She was pretty mean to a lot of people and pretty nasty, and she knows that she's a fraud, and she's pretty sure she got in there by mistake. I don't think she was even living expecting it to be a good place or a bad place. I think she just thought you die, that's it. She didn't really plan ahead for that kind of stuff. So suddenly she finds herself feeling like she's a fraud in this place, and because everyone's been nice to her, it's driving her nuts. And then she finds herself with these other people, which are Chidi, who's this philosophy professor who couldn't make a decision ever. There's Jason, who's this like idiot basically. He lived in Florida. He had no real upbringing, no real education, and he thinks the most insane things. His brain hasn't developed at all. I mean, he's really stupid. And Tihani, who's this upper class socialite who did everything to make herself look good but never really felt anything. So The Good Place is ruled over by Ted Danson, a character called Michael, who introduces them to The Good Place, tells them all their dreams will come true here. It's a perfect place for them. Well done for getting in, you're the best. And as the story goes on, they're starting to get more and more suspicious of their abilities here. Everyone has the problems that are coming up, like Jason, everyone thinks he's a monk, so he can't speak, and eventually he manages to talk to Eleanor and thinks he's a fake as well, he shouldn't be here. And as the story goes on, Chidi and Tihani also think they shouldn't be here because of the flaws in the person, and everyone gets more and more involved and more compromised. So we have to go to spoilers now to talk about the show. That's been done to set up. Generally all I'll say now is, before I go into spoilers, it's a great show. It's terrifically paced. The characters are wonderful. They evolve really interestingly. The story itself is fascinating. But this video is really about how the story goes rather than saying all these wonderful things about it. So I have to go into spoilers. But if you haven't seen it, go watch and then come back, because it's worth watching. It's really worth watching. And the episode's only 20 minutes long. There's 13 episodes a season. There's only 4 seasons, so it's not going to take long to watch them all. And once you try it, if you're not into it by middle of the first season, you're not going to get into it at all. It's either you're into it or not. And basically there's a lot of a bump in the 3rd season. Early part of the 3rd season, yeah, there's a lot of a bump there, where they think as the story's progressing, and there's a couple of episodes that are a bit more story based, that once you get beyond them it's great. Again, it's just there's a couple of little bumps, but apart from that it's terrific. So any spoilers now. So it turns out, in spoilers, they're not in a good place. They're in a bad place. They're in hell, and the way to torture them is to make them think they're in a good place by mistake, and it's an accident, and they have to try and figure out how to hide the fact that they shouldn't be here. And Michael is actually a demon trying to torture them by making them think they're always going to get caught and compromise them in every possible way. And they know who's doing what. They always know when they figured out that they're in a bad place. And this keeps on coming to get reset because the idea is to torture them, but because you keep on figuring out they're in a bad place, they have to reset it and start again, start again, start again, start again. And the whole idea becomes, okay, this doesn't work. And the idea was that this new psychological based torture was to replace physical torture, because physical torture got boring after a while. So they decided to go this other way to torture people who deserve to be tortured or who had lived flawed lives. But having all these 4 different people of different classes and different sins basically shows you that even that was a bit skewed, because Chidi's sin, Chidi's this black professor who couldn't make a decision. His sin was indecision, but it wasn't really a great sin, it was just torturing himself more than everyone else. Tahani did a lot of good, he just didn't do it for the right reasons, but still didn't do anything wrong. Eleanor was a bit more dodgy, and so was Jason, but everybody had their level of sin, but the idea that they're all going to hell because of sin was a problem. And as the story went on, he would actually say, okay, what's the problem? The problem here is sin, like how you define sin. Because these people got better as they went through these experiences and actually learned philosophy from Chidi. And each time they moved up, they were proving that human beings through adversity could get better. And they kept on having to switch the story around to show, as the story evolved, basically it's like, okay, here's a challenge to the people organising this. We get better, so what does that say about your system? If you can't accept it, we deserve to go to a good place now. And then they go down to Earth to relive their lives. And again, they get better, but both sides, from the good place to from Michael, who has gone from a demon to be a good guy, and from the other demons who want to ruin the experiment, everything's getting compromised, and everyone's trying to work out how to reset the system. And eventually the story goes on and on, where basically it's about resetting the judgment system, because turns out, because even if you're good, the whole world's so complicated that even if you try to buy stuff from good places, they think are good places, they're so compromised by having to live in the real world, you're still doing a sin, so no matter what you do, you're always going to go to the bad place. It's how do you reset that? How do you reset the idea of sin for a modern world that's not simplistic? And what happens if you actually get to the good place eventually? What happens if you solve the system? You get to a good place, and you turn to the good place has its own problems, because once you get there, you have nothing else to do, there's nothing else to prove. So going through the story, they always try to prove something, but by the time you get to the good place, it's like, well, there's no challenge anymore. So what do you do with that? So the whole show becomes a story about dilemmas and problems. I mean, they quote different philosophers how you deal with problems, but the main focus is always using that as a backbone to inform the characters, and you see characters make decisions from that, and the characters you start to see become much more coherent in their views, even if the memories have been wiped. Something in that keeps affecting them to actually try and be better, and it's like going from being flawed people to being people who are the best versions of whatever they could possibly be. Like Jason never becomes a genius or anything. He's still stupid by the end of it, but he actually has found his ways around his intellectual deficits to actually be a much better person and try and use what he knows to help people rather than hurt them. Tahani learns to genuinely care and genuinely want to serve people rather than being traumatised by her parents to only think of herself. Eleanor learns to be a much better version of herself, to be kind, to be observant, but to have her observations to be for the good of people rather than for her own selfish desires. And Chidi learns not to be scared of life, to actually take what he's learned from life and actually put it into practice and actually help solve problems. So they all learn to be better people. But within that, you've all the character details, because this was made by Mike Schur, who did Parks and Rec, who worked in American Office, who did Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. So he does a lot of these character-based shows where the characters are the important thing, and the situations are always there to promote the characters to the next stage of the story. So it's story-based comedy. And a lot of the jokes are about the characters as they interact. I mean, there's other characters like Michael has a sidekick, Janet, who's this AI program who becomes much more sentient and becomes much more human as he goes on, and becomes involved within their struggle to actually reset the system. So there's always these little stories that are evolving. The characters start out in one way and become something much more complicated. At the end of it, after all of this, the idea of what happens after you die, it's like, how to say, I lived a decent life, and then the end of the story basically is them learn to let go and die. You know, even in a good place, eventually the only way to find peace within it is to actually accept that you will die eventually. Which is a very good ending for a TV show, because most times TV is about trying to push back death and trying to push back mortality and characters you like dying. And this one insists on they will die. They have to, because people die in real life all the time. There's no escape from it, and that's what the show's about. It's like learning from your mistakes, moving forward, making the life around about you better for other people, helping other people getting better within the limits of their character, and then learn to let go. So it's a very hopeful show. It's a very wonderful show. It's great characters. There's great situations. I mean, even the weakest episodes I mentioned before are still good episodes. It's just that they're not quite as polished as the really good ones. But it's still a wonderful I mean, it's a wonderful show all round. I mean, this and Park and Recs are both great shows. They're both really worth seeing, because they're the good side of like liberal, humane American sitcoms, where it's like, yeah, it's a situation, but they're taking a situation and making it character based and making the stories really work within that for the characters, making the jokes work for the characters. The jokes come from the characters, so a lot of the reactions, how they'll say a line, like they know the actors and know how the character will say lines, so they can really write towards that, and even the jokes become character points rather than just throwaway jokes. So this is a wonderful show. I highly recommend it. I don't want to say any more about it. I just want to say go watch it. It's great. It's on Netflix. The whole series on Netflix. You can go through it in a few days if you really want to. But I'd say spread it out a bit more and really enjoy it, because it's really wonderful. Once you get to know the characters, it's great. They all interact wonderfully. They've all got their own little quirks. Everyone's just, even all the supporting characters are weird and wonderful and just oddball. So it's a wonderful show. Highly recommended. Just go see it. Right, bye for now.